everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Toy Story 4, number 2 would be Child's Play, number 3 would be Men in Black International, number 4 would be Anna, and number 5 would be The Secret Life of Pets 2. And I only got 3 out of 5 of my predictions right for this weekend, which is pretty good, but I could have done much better if I had predicted a certain movie to stay in a certain spot it's been for a while now. So let's go over what happened in the overall top 10. Number 1 was, of course, Toy Story 4, making $118 million. Now, some people are trying to pass this off as a disappointment because previously it was estimated to make around like 165 or 140, something around there. But this is still like by 8 million higher than the last Toy Story movie's opening. So this is officially the highest opening weekend out of any Toy Story film. And that's something to be proud of for sure. It's also the third highest opening Pixar has ever had behind Incredibles 2 and Dory. So that's pretty good. Worldwide, it is currently sitting at $238 million too, which is a little over its $200 million production budget, so it needs to get to $400 million to be considered a success, which I think it definitely will do. I think it's going to hold over very well in the next coming weeks too. This is honestly just nothing but good news for this movie. Sure, it didn't open exactly where certain estimates were going to be, but this is still a pretty fantastic opening for this film. Number 2, we have Child's Play making $14 million on a budget of $10 million, so that's already going to do well. It's going to get to $20 million and double that budget and be considered a success. And it's also $3 million higher than the original Child's Play opening. And it's also just the highest opening for any Child's Play related movie out there. So that's a pretty good win for this movie that a ton of people that were fans of the original tried to boycott because it was disrespectful to Don Mancini. But then it just became the highest opening weekend for any Child's Play movie, so it didn't really matter after all. Whatever, I guess. Number 3, we have Aladdin making $12 million, once again staying at the number 3 spot. I don't know how many weeks it's been at number 3, but it's still here, and I'm shocked by that. But it made $12 million, adding to a domestic total of $287 million. It needs $13 million more to get to $300 million domestically, which I think we will be able to see that happen by like next week or maybe the week after. And worldwide, it is sitting at $810 million, so it crossed over the $800 million mark. And once again, I feel like I've been saying this for a while, like I feel like a broken record. But even though I didn't like this movie, the fact that it's made this much money is honestly outstanding. There was a time where some people were like, sure, it's going to make a lot of money, but it'll definitely be one of the lowest openings or lowest grossing ones because this is one that has a lot of flack surrounding it. But actually, no, it hasn't. It's made a lot more than I think I ever expected it to. Because I was expecting it to make a lot, but I didn't think it would make as much as it is right now because I thought there was a lot of negative buzz towards this film. But I guess the families that went out to see it loved it so much that they've been recommending it to all the other families out there, which is fantastic. Number 4, we have Men in Black International making $10.7 million, adding to a domestic total of $52 million. It did not hold over well from last weekend's opening at all. Worldwide, it is sitting at $182 million, so it's only about $38 million away from doubling its $110 million budget, so maybe we will see that. I'm pretty sure we will be seeing that happen while it's in the top 10, but it's still not the highest opening or highest gross that they're expecting. Sony, the people that made this movie, so I don't think we'll be seeing a future with these new characters that we met in Men in Black International. So I think it'll be like a mild hit as far as worldwide money is concerned, but it probably won't be one that's continued at any point. Number 5, we have The Secret Life of Pets 2 making $10.2 million, adding to a domestic total of $117. Domestically, it outgrossed Hop, which is good. It's not the lowest earning Illumination film anymore. Fantastic. It needs $97 million more though to outgross the Lorax domestically, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think although it's not the lowest earning Illumination film, it won't become like a higher hit either. It won't climb the ranks to the other ones. I think it's going to start dying out soon, especially now that we have Toy Story 4 out. Worldwide, it is sitting at $194 million, so it needs $6 million more to get to $200 million worldwide, but it also needs $154 million to outgross the Lorax worldwide. So once again, this movie is doing better than Hop, which is the gold standard for Illumination basically, but it's not going to go any higher on the ranks, which may disappoint fans of this movie, but I haven't really met anyone who was a fan of this movie unless they were young children. So number 6, we have Rocket Man making $5 million, adding to a domestic total of $77 million. Worldwide, it is sitting at $153 million, which is still fantastic for this film. It's about to quadruple its $40 million budget as soon as it makes $7 million more and gets to $160 worldwide. That is fantastic for this film. I'm glad that with the limited budget that it has, it's making so much money off of it. Number 7, we have John Wick Chapter Chapter 3, Parabellum, making $4 million, adding to a domestic total of $156 million. Worldwide, it is sitting at $289 million, which is very good. $11 million to go until it gets to $300 million worldwide. And if it's here next week, which I'm pretty sure it will be, I think we will be seeing that happen, crossing over the $300 million threshold, which is fantastic for this film. Number 8 is Godzilla, King of the Monsters, making $3.7 million, adding to a domestic total of $102 million. So they were able to cross over the $100 million mark domestically, which is good. Question mark? Not really, because worldwide it is still only at $349 million, and though that is doubling its $170 million budget, that's still only $9 million over that, and obviously the studio was expecting much more than that, like at least $400 to $500 million. So this is a big disappointment still, even if it did double its budget. Number 9 is Dark Phoenix, making $3.6 million, continuing to drive. This is definitely the last time we're going to see it, making $3.6 million, adding to a domestic total of only $60 million. Imagine you're a big superhero film, right? And you open up with a really low opening considering what the other installments of your franchise have been, and you're about to exit the top 10 in a matter of like 3 weeks, and you've only garnered up 60 million as opposed to over 100 million, which is about the standard of these things. What the heck, man? Worldwide, it is sitting at 232 million, however, which is still way off from doubling that $200 million initial production budget. So yeah, this is an official flop, a really big one at that, to end off these 20th Century Fox X-Men films. Big bummer, but what are you going to do after the news that Disney was going to buy out Fox, so pretty much rendering the rest of these films kind of useless, and you didn't really need to see them. I mean, what were you really expecting, you know? Number 10, we got Shaft, making $3.55 million, adding to a domestic total of $15 million. It is still nowhere near its $35 million budget, and it's nowhere close to doubling that. However, I just found out that apparently the distribution rights for Shaft worldwide, they got sold to Netflix. So I'm sure that no matter what it makes here domestically, it's fine as far as getting to its budget because Netflix has written off the cost for that. So I guess it never mattered that it didn't live up to the franchise expectations of the Samuel L. Jackson one, you know, because Netflix has already paid for the movie's budget. Doesn't matter. Whatever. And finally, closing out the video, I predicted this for number 4, and I was dead wrong. It came in at number 11, Anna, making $3.53 million. It was so close to getting into the top 10, but I guess no one really cared. I was expecting like the Atomic Blonde audience or the maybe fans of a Luc Besson project to come in, but I guess they didn't want to show up for this one, especially since you have so many other films to choose from. It made $3.53 million on a budget of $30 million. There's no worldwide total yet. I'm sure there will be because it's a Luc Besson film, so I'm sure there will be a worldwide total that may be the doubling point of that $30 million budget, but domestically, at least, it's a huge flop. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I'm going with Toy Story 4 once again. Number 2, Annabelle Comes Home. Number 3, Yesterday. Number 4, Child's Play. And number 5, Aladdin. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.